of America. Um, I want to be able to go up to Tampa or to Chicago or to anywhere where there's interesting things happening in this country. As a free white, free black, whatever American I am, I want to observe what's happening in my country. And I want to be able to go there and not fear for my life. People of Kenosha, Wisconsin, witnessed someone walking around with a AR-15, 30 caliber rifle with 30 shells in the chamber. The chamber is maybe not the right word. The sleeve that you lock in, or the cartridge that you lock into the weapon. And this 17-year-old boy, dressed in military garb, driven there to Kenosha from Illinois, Antioch, Illinois, to Kenosha. And she advertised herself in full military garb. There's a picture out on the internet. An overweight woman. That's not the point. He got a gun he was walking around with, which for him to even hold was illegal. Someone gave it to him or sold it to him or whatever. And he decided to walk around the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Active things happening. It was said that he was going to protect the people and the property of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Well, the people who were protesting, all of them were not, I'm not sure who they were, if they're from out of town. He was from out of town. But nonetheless, he sat down at one point and proceeded to shoot at people who were objecting to him having the gun in the midst of a BLM protest. This was I'm trying to think of the young man that got shot by the cops a large number of times, and he was killed I think his name was Arbery, but I'm not sure of that. But he was killed as he was trying to get in his car. The cops came from behind him and pumped several bullets into him. That's what prompted the protest. And the Black Lives Matter protesters, which don't really have a record of violence like it's alleged. Oftentimes people from out of town, such as this boy carrying an AR-15, creating some mayhem, endangering people. I mean, if you fire a rifle in a crowded situation, that bullet, that slug, is designed to go through things and can go through more than one person at a time, back to back. So you could effectively sandwich people like a sub with one bullet and kill a lot of people accidentally or deliberately or on purpose, right? That's the same thing. This is what happened. More or less, essentially, this one fellow he shot 4 times and he killed him. Claimed that the guy had a weapon and shot the guy in the back. Then shot another person and another person in the arm, and 2 people died of the 3. And a trial I watched today being broadcast on major cable live, so it was no reporters interpreting what happened. You always have reporters interpreting when there's a pause or something like that. But the interpretations were, well, he feared for his life. Well, I thought if you decided to pour gasoline in a situation and you lit a match, perhaps it was your problem. And to walk into a protest with an AR-15, and the police were already there kind of organizing things and blocking off streets and things like that, and you go into this situation as frankly as an ignorant kid. He didn't know for sure the difference between a hollow point bullet and a regular rifle bullet for the AR-15. A hollow point bullet, frankly, if you shoot something or someone, it'll blow a hole in the backside of the human or the backside of an animal or something like that. It expands inside the body and takes out a big chunk of the person or the creature. And so using hollow points on deer is not a good idea. In fact, the AR-15 has got 30 bullets. It's not about really showing your skill as a hunter. It's more about overpowering any animal and not caring about the final result of what the animal looks like when it's been bloodied by your bullet, because it's maybe a shredded piece of meat that you wouldn't want to eat anyway. So people would get careless and reckless. But this kid left his hometown of Antioch, Illinois, with his mother driving, and she left him there. And he went to turn himself in after the shootings, and the police were unavailable. He couldn't quite do it, or he couldn't find the police station. But he knew enough to wave at them to show him what he was out there to protect the property of everybody else on video, parading himself as a protector of the property. He was more protective of property than life and limb. Now, the police were there to keep people from doing all of that. Unfortunately, he circumvented that and was able to achieve the death of two people, the wounding of a third. The judge got angry with the prosecutor today and was saying, well, you're talking about stuff here that shouldn't have been. It's under Miranda. You have the right of silence. There's a propensity to find guilt when you bring things in from the past. The past was like 4 days before, and Rittenhouse had said he wanted to kill people when he came to Kenosha, or something to that effect, or he was going to make people know or sorry they were damaging things if they're setting things on fire or whatever. You got the right to do that. You can wander around this country, go from city to city, whether it's Chicago, Tampa, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Doesn't matter. You can do that, right? And if you're underage, you can do that with a gun that you're not supposed to have legally. And you're going to get out of. People are going to cheer for this. I mean, think about this. There's a lot of people cheering if he gets off, doesn't get charged with anything, doesn't go to jail. Do you really want that kind of America? That people can do this on any side, left, right, or in the middle? I mean, people get killed from both sides. They can. Who does it more? Well, allegedly the NRA people are all for the good guy with a gun crap. And we've seen where that's going. We see the high schools being ripped apart with a gunner. Some mad kid in school comes into the school and kills in Colorado and down here in Florida and different places, kills a bunch of kids, shoots them up. And, you've got these things all over, these people, gun nut people, all because of the Second Amendment that says an organized militia. You have the right to carry a gun, to be part of an organized militia. We don't have an organized militia that's regulated by the government. Organized under government supervision is what it originally was. What kind of gun? Was a musket. What it is now is anybody's game. It could be a howitzer cannon. Let's use any gun to shoot anybody we don't like or we disagree with. We'll never come together. We'll never come to terms. We'll never come to an America that's united. All we're going to have out of this is a disunited America with people accusing the other people of various things and wanting to win elections, never ceding, never agreeing that they lost. But that's what we know. These are the underlying atmosphere we have in this country, that a 17-year-old can get in his car, his mother drive him there because he's not supposed to drive. Doesn't have a license, I don't think. I'm not sure that's accurate, but for some reason, he's not supposed to drive. Not DUI, but maybe the age thing. I don't know. People at 17 can drive, or maybe his mother didn't trust him to drive their car, but trusted him enough to have the AR-15 with him. She was into court today, crying about his upset that he might have been caught up in something. He maybe got a little bit afraid when the people decided he was too dangerous to let sit there with his AR-15 pointing at different people. Maybe they decided, let's take this into our hands. What would you do in an airplane with somebody with a gun? Well, we saw people in the plane that crashed into the Pennsylvania field. These guys decided to take on the hijackers of the airplanes at 9/11, one of the planes, and attack the attacker. People do that. People in planes attack people who have a gun on a plane to protect the pilot, to save all of their lives, not crashing the plane. My, what terrible people would stop somebody with a gun on an airplane or in a crowded protest rally or in any kind, or in a subway or in a train or any place where people are kind of trapped or endangered because they're in a group or in a high school. Gee, I don't know who would do that. Some people might say that's a brave American. Some people who like the fact that the gun person had their own right to carry the guns would call that's a communist. I don't know what that name calling does. It just doesn't come to an understanding of terms. I want to thank you for listening. I'm not cheering for America when we have these kind of things. Anyone who does, I think, needs to consider their own, look in the mirror a little bit and understand who they're talking to and talking about. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you like. Tell me what you think. I'm not sure where this is going to end up. I think if he gets off entirely, well, we shall see. Next time. You know what happened in the case of the laundry and the Petito girl. Somehow he died. Sometimes people disappear when they're about to be exposed in certain ways. They just die. Let's see, who was that recently? Oh, Epstein. Remember him? Some people think there's a body double. There's a conspiracy around the corner here, folks. See you later.